I was extremely drawn to. There's a balance between softness and stasis, as well as like a kind of violence, and with this scratching texture. It's very kind of evocative in a way that not a lot of representational art can. That's why I love expressionism so much. It forces a deeper and, for me, more personal response. But I'm forced to take it in first versus point things out and react to it and then try to kind of put it all together. It just, it's hard to describe, but pieces like this, it draws me in. There's an ineffability about it, I guess. What else to say? But it's beautiful, subtle but bold. It's hard to do that.
And you relate to it in a way.
Yeah, so
because of what you do with your music.
Yeah, I'm a composer of some avant-garde music, minimalistic music, but music that puts the listener into, I would say, a meditative state, but in a state it's a sort of paralysis that forces us into a listening position versus a reactive position. The world around us and everything around us keeps changing, but we're forced to stop. And I do that through very slow rates of change, as well as striking dissonance. There's something very striking about this. I think there's a level of dissonance, but a level of harmony, in the way that, like, I love the way it's sectioned off, and so that there are pieces that absolutely fit together versus like an unobstructed, undivided, undifferentiated field of color like you might find in like color field paintings. So I definitely relate to it in that way. Lots and lots of just beautiful texture and just dimensionality too, which is important. I think people want to capture complexity, the complexity of life, complexity of our experience, and it's impossible to do that if you don't have a great deal of dimensionality to your work, in my opinion. So I think this is to me a successful. You can see all this nuance, this scratches and different colors and combinations of colors are revealed underneath, and there's darkness. And there's light, and I love the way that those things interact. And then there's a splash of bold, and I wouldn't call it neon, but and then it's also represented here, but subtly, And this is like a smaller section, a bigger section. It's just, I love it. I love it a lot.
It's really great. Thank you so much for commenting on it.
Of course.
It really helps me.
Absolutely.
Appreciate none of that stuff I was intending, but hopefully it's just part of what I express.
Yeah, in my opinion, we express things, and sometimes, and this has happened to me plenty of times, when people hear my work and they say, "Oh, like I love how this happened, and it made me feel this way." I was like, I didn't mean for any of that to happen, but I think that's inherent to the way that the complexity of our expression of our emotion. We don't even understand it.
Right.
It just sort of happens, and the spontaneity of it is, to me, magical.
A bit of serendipity.
Absolutely.
Putting back what has come into you.
Absolutely.
Coming out of you in ways that you could not, guess.
It's like uncontrolled, but there is a precision. Everything is put exactly where it is, even if it's just we just decide unconsciously in a moment.
Right.
That it's there, but then it's there exactly where it is.
I think what happens in the process is that I start off with a very simple layers upon layer, and it's not done. And I keep adding layers and removing work that I didn't like, parts of it that oh, this doesn't work, I take that off. And you just go through this process where it can take hours until you're like, that's it.
Right.
That's it, I'm done.
And it's great when we reach that point. You know, I've had pieces where I build up these huge structures, and then I tear them down, and I build them back up, and sometimes you put everything out there and you whittle away until it's just the right balance and combination of everything you've already put on there. And as you said, there's an additive and subtractive element.
Yeah.
That to me is true balance. Some people don't know when to stop, have no restraint. They just put everything there and then that's it.
Yeah.
But
so that's an interesting connection that you've made between art and music. It's really interesting.
I'm very inspired by art, especially abstract art. It's more exciting. It's more expressive to me. And so it's a great piece.
There will be more coming. Thank you.
Of course.